Have you ever questioned why God let your mother's separation from you? Does He truly wish for you to endure this suffering indefinitely? In actuality, this separation was not an accident, and as the chosen one, you must comprehend why. God is perfect. What you could not yet see, He saw. He knew that this separation was necessary for you to grow stronger, more independent, and ready for your true purpose. Like Joseph, who was deceived and separated from his family before ruling Egypt, you were made for something greater. This suffering served as a heavenly instrument to make you unbreakable. God chose you for a higher purpose. He didn't leave you behind. The pathways of the chosen are not smooth, and it is in suffering that God fortifies them for the future. Now consider this. Why did God let this separation happen if it was an error? Does He truly want you to spend a life mired in the past, burdened by something that keeps you from developing? No is the response. God designed it, not simply permitted it. He understood that you couldn't rely on worldly connections to fulfill your purpose. The real chosen one learns to put their faith in God above all other people. The Lord needed to set you free from anything that could hinder your spiritual growth. Jesus said in Luke 12 verses 51 to 53 that He came to divide families because those called to the divine purpose must follow the Father's will, not human expectations. You were created to seek God's favor rather than rely on other people's acceptance. Since the eagle can only learn to fly when it is compelled to leave its nest, you, the chosen one, were forced to overcome your limitations to fulfill your predetermined destiny. Will you accept God's invitation to be who you are, or will you keep whining about this separation? We bring together those who hear the call and choose to go ahead despite their wounds, so if you feel like these words are speaking directly to you, subscribe to the channel right away. What comes next if God permitted this separation? After the anguish, what happens? Separation. However, understand that solitude does not mean abandonment. Instead of being forgotten, you were singled out to be polished, the chosen one. God utilizes solitude as a method to fortify people He has called to something great, just like fire purifies gold. Perhaps you've questioned why you didn't get the same love and encouragement that others did. But have you ever considered how God is preparing you for a purpose beyond material comforts? Consider Moses' story. He had to flee Egypt and live in the wilderness for years before he was ready to set a whole nation free. Instead of being a punishment, this period of seclusion served as training to enable him to carry out the purpose that God had planned. You experienced the same thing. Isolation is a journey to find your actual strength and relies solely on God, not an end in itself. The chosen ones always follow this method. Prior to his rule, Joseph languished in a jail. Before ascending to the throne, David hid in caverns for years. Jesus confronted the desert before beginning his mission. You are included in this heavenly pattern. Now, the issue is, are you prepared to accept this time of development? Or will you oppose it, looking for material justifications for a supernatural procedure? The furnace of change molds the chosen ones, not their comfort zone. When God sets someone aside, He purges them of everything unrelated to His purpose. Relationships may end, friends may depart, and doors may appear closed, but all of these events occur to ensure that your heart is completely aligned with God's purpose. Jesus, who was still quite young, is seen in Luke 2 verses 48 to 49 leaving his earthly parents to be at his Father's house because he already knew that his purpose was bigger than family. Isolation is empowering, not a form of punishment. Few people have the strength to endure what you are preparing for. However, keep in mind that this stage is temporary. There was an end to Moses' wilderness. Joseph was released from jail. This marked the end of David's hiding place. Additionally, you will no longer be isolated. Enjoy this moment instead of resisting it. Let solitude purify you, as it leads to a level of development and self-discovery that only the chosen can achieve. You've already started to get ready. You now have the choice of maximizing it or squandering it. If this passage resonated with you, leave a comment below with the words, "My pain has purpose." May this statement serve as a beacon for all the chosen ones undergoing internal transformation. Now that you know isolation was a divine process of refining, you may be wondering how to find courage in the anguish. God gave you all you need to go through this separation, if He permitted it. However, few people enjoy hearing this. God did not create you to rely on the approval of others on earth. God permitted this breakup so that you might discover your worth in Him rather than in other people. Instead of destroying you, the anguish of separation served to forge an unbreakable bond inside you. When you feel lost and everything seems to be falling apart, remember that your strength comes from the God who chose you, not your circumstances. Even after selling Joseph into slavery, deceiving his brothers, and forgetting him in jail, God never abandoned him. Instead, He made the most of every painful experience to become an unwavering leader. Similarly, your tale ends not with suffering but with the change it is bringing about in you. The chosen ones are defined by their ability to grow stronger in adversity. The key choice is whether to let your pain define you or use it to motivate your goals. At this point, many individuals tend to lose sight of God's plan, allowing their suffering to fuel feelings of resentment, mistrust, and isolation. The chosen ones, however, approach things differently. Instead of succumbing to self-pity, they turn their suffering into strength. Jesus experienced the agony of His mission at Gethsemane, yet He persisted. He was aware that the crucifixion marked the beginning of resurrection rather than its conclusion. Your current situation is not the conclusion, rather, it is the beginning of something bigger. Persecutions and betrayals were part of David's training for the kingdom prior to his accession to the throne. Even though you may have been rejected by the world and harmed by others, God is using all of those experiences to create something inside of you that no one can take away. God has chosen you, and those chosen find strength where others see only weakness. Get to your feet, inhale deeply, and proceed. There's a reason behind your misery. Eventually, you will come to understand the significance of everything, and your story continues to unfold. Suffering does not defeat those called to something bigger, rather, it strengthens them. Why did the most significant challenges originate within your family, given that your suffering served a purpose and your seclusion was a divine method of strengthening you? Why did you and your mother have such heated arguments? The spiritual struggle that goes on in the background of your life is a significant factor. The chosen ones face trials that attempt to divert them from their path, rather than merely encountering everyday challenges. Your home issues were spiritual tests to prepare you, not just miscommunications. The adversary has attempted to destabilize you by using those closest to you because they are aware of the potential that God has given you. However, God was also aware of this and let you experience this to strengthen rather than weaken you. Similar to how Joseph had to deal with treachery and envy in his own family before fulfilling his destiny, you also had to go through this to develop. Every disagreement, rejection, and emotional scar was a necessary component of God's plan to strengthen you and better align you with your purpose. Family members attacked you for a purpose, and they didn't discard you by accident. It was a course. God was teaching you to rely solely on Him and to let go of the desire for human acceptance. The question now, however, is how will you respond to this reality? You have the option to view all of this as divine teaching or to hold on to grudges and let the scars of the past prevent you from growing. The chosen ones get the ability to glimpse past appearances. Jesus encountered opposition even in His household. Even His siblings did not believe in Him, according to John 7 verse 5. You must realize that His purpose will transcend biological connections, just as He did. You fought against spiritual forces that attempted to stop you from walking, not against other people. Deuteronomy 5:16's call to honor your parents doesn't mean you should give in to relationships that lead you away from God. It means to act wisely and lovingly, without grudges. God permitted these conflicts to teach you to fight with faith rather than bitterness. After all of these hardships, you must now decide whether to keep reflecting on the past, relive the suffering, or go forward, knowing that God has already transformed you through all of this. He witnessed all the tears that were shed. He has counted every moment of rejection. He now challenges you to a higher level. The past no longer holds you back. Your adventure doesn't finish here, so get up. This moment was only a stage in your preparation for something far more ambitious. Additionally, the chosen ones march toward their goal with their eyes focused on the future, free from the bindings of the past. Does this statement make you feel better on the inside? To demonstrate to the world that words like these still find willing hearts, hit the like button beneath the video. I hope that this area becomes a location where people make faith declarations and where other chosen ones find the courage to keep going. The big truth comes to light after countless struggles, hardships, and tribulations. You were chosen for something bigger. Even though you may have had some doubts about your calling at times and wondered why your trip was more difficult than others, things are now beginning to make sense. If there were not a great destiny waiting for you, God would not have called you on this trip, and He does not let storms occur without a cause. God frequently keeps the chosen ones away from situations and individuals that could restrict their purpose. Joseph had to grow up in Egypt, separated from his family. To lead his people in the desert, Moses had to depart from the palace. David fled for years before ascending to the throne. Separation is a necessary part of the process, but it is never the end, rather, it is a fresh start. God had to ensure that nothing would stop you from fulfilling His plans for you. And for that reason, some doors closed, some roads became unavailable, and some relationships terminated. Even though it felt like suffering and abandonment at the time, God was watching out for you. You were kept rather than forgotten. Rather than facing rejection, they shaped you into something far greater than your wildest dreams. The next thing you need to ask yourself is, how will I answer this calling? The chosen ones do not have the luxury of living like everyone else. They must behave differently, think differently, and be unique. Because of the unique nature of your goal, your trip was also unique. You were meant to be a voice, a leader, and a reference, not just another person. If you try to conform, you'll always feel out of place. In Matthew 22 verse 14, Jesus said, "Many are called, but few are chosen." You are more than simply a call. Someone has chosen you. Additionally, we hold the chosen ones to a higher standard. We separated them using a filter. God took away everything that would have stopped you from developing, and now He presents you with a new task, to go forward without turning around. The past is behind us now. Now is the time for you to embark on your planned path. Additionally, keep in mind that the chosen ones do not dwell on the superficial. They explore the depths of what God has in store for them. It is important to address this immediately. The chosen know they must face the unknown because they know God is with them. The mediocre are satisfied with the surface. If you're still unsure of your mission, keep in mind that nobody experiences what you did for no reason. It wasn't for nothing. It was a vocation. And now is the moment to embrace it. Have you found that the struggles grow more fierce the closer you get to your goal? The real issue today is to remain strong after everything you've been through, including the separation, loneliness, and hardships within your family. Indeed, the chosen ones not only endure the challenges but also grow from them. You may have felt overwhelmed, but something inside you may have resisted giving up. Do you know why, too? The divine mission that burns within you prevents you from stopping. God empowers the people He chose, not the strongest. Every tear you shed, every struggle you faced, and every day that felt unfathomable served as your training for the enormous mission ahead of you. Being resilient means not just surviving hardships but also being stronger as a result of them. Furthermore, suffering not only makes the chosen ones resilient, but also shapes them into unbreakable entities. It's time to move forward now that you know your journey wasn't in vain. Understanding that hardships serve as preparation rather than destruction is essential for resilience. God has not only chosen you for a reason but is also molding you to fulfill it. Being called is insufficient, you also need to be prepared. Furthermore, the challenges that accompany this preparation test your faith, patience, and resolve. Have you ever observed that challenges, uncertainties, and problems always seem to surface just before you take a significant step? Such behavior is not a coincidence. God is polishing you to strengthen you, just as fire purifies gold to make it pure. Everything that is not part of your destiny is being taken away from you by God, along with any flaws, fears, or dependencies that keep you from Him. Although it may hurt, the procedure is essential. Ultimately, how could you bear a divine mission without being prepared to bear it? What comes next, then? Even if you don't fully understand what is going on, are you prepared to put your faith in God and keep it? Resilience is the ability to maintain one's faith in the face of contradicting data. The chosen ones live by their beliefs rather than their appearance. David fled for years after his crowning as king before taking up the throne. Joseph had to endure slavery and incarceration after receiving a vision of glory before his promise could come true. God is truthful, and if He has chosen you, He will keep all of His promises. Meanwhile, He will test you. You can either bemoan the challenges or view them as chances for personal development. You have the option to trust that God is in charge or to give in to your fears. The chosen ones are aware that every hardship serves as preparation for something bigger. It's time to stop asking questions. The moment has come to fortify and advance. Those who have been chosen for something exceptional cannot afford to surrender. We created you to conquer, not to flee, as the chosen one. So get up, straighten your back, and continue. Your triumph has already been announced by God. It is up to you to go in that direction. If you have made it this far, you must have realized that your trip was divinely destined. It wasn't all for nothing. The loneliness, the separation, the family conflicts, the suffering, and the fortitude. You have reached this point, the discovery of your actual destiny, through every step you have taken. God begins to unveil previously unreachable paths after molding, fortifying, and testing you. But take note, excellence is a journey rather than a destination. You are called to a lifelong process of development and change rather than a goal. The chosen ones know that every step they take will bring them closer to the divine goal, whereas many quit when the path becomes difficult. Before ascending to the throne, David had to overcome a series of obstacles. He did not become king on the day he was anointed. In a similar vein, God is guiding you toward your purpose, but in order to fulfill it, you must be prepared to keep going ahead despite obstacles. What makes those who succeed stand out from those who fail? They exhibit perseverance, obedience, and faith. You have more responsibility now that God has shown you who you truly are. The chosen ones follow heavenly guidance rather than human approval, despite the world's attempts to cast doubt on you, put up barriers, and have those who don't comprehend your path. You must stay on the right path, but you can't stop God's promise for you. Genesis 50 verse 20 tells us that even things meant to harm us could turn out to be beneficial. What you encountered empowered you, not constrained you. It all started when you and your mother parted ways back then. The entire process that led you here began with that rupture. You gained strength in solitude, learned to trust God, triumphed in spiritual conflicts, and realized that you were called to something bigger as a result of that suffering. You wouldn't have been prepared to carry the weight of your purpose without that separation. So, proceed. Greatness is in how you choose to follow the route, not at the conclusion. Keep on with bravery because God has already equipped you in addition to calling you. It's up to you now to accept the cause and go fearlessly. Those chosen for something bigger don't quit, they finish. Once you've subscribed to the channel, leave a remark with the word purpose, signifying that you comprehended the call and decided to stick with it through to the conclusion. Keep in touch with everything that fuels and ignites your calling. This word was meant for you. Your comment is part of a promise that is already being fulfilled. These small actions can be the response someone has been hoping for to move on. The chosen ones are aware of one another and stick together until the very end. May your path be filled with purpose, brightness, and tranquility. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, dear soul.